I don't live too far from. But they have a lease with the city until 2027, but they can get out of it in 2024. I wouldn't be surprised to see them leave unless somebody comes in and buys the team for Matt Silverman before that happens. But unless that happens, there's no way. Baseball could very likely, because again, they were talking about that this weekend. You have college football. Because here's a scenario that I played out. You have college football on Saturday. The Rays are playing the Boston Red Sox at Tropicana Field. Now, I'm a Red Sox fan. I know we're not making the playoffs. We're out of the playoff scenario. In fact, the New York Yankees clinched the division earlier this evening, as Lewis was on here, as he announced to me that they had won the division for the first time since 2012. I'm like, oh, congratulations, from a Red Sox to a Yankee fan. Congratulations on that. But I'd rather sit home and watch college football than go to a Rays game. And that sucks.
Right.
Because you have a team that is going to could possibly make the postseason, but yet you're home watching college football, which, if you think about it, other than the Michigan game, the Wisconsin game that's on early at noon, the Florida game should be a shellacking. UCF is playing Pitt this week. They should blow them out of the water. I don't know who Miami's playing. I don't know. Florida State is – they're just – that Willie Taggart is off the hinges. That team is off the hinges. And if I don't really think he survives the season as their head coach, I think they buy him out before the season's over.
I would have never hired him in the first place.
Well, he's from here. He's a native to the state. I guess when he was at USF. He was at USF prior to going to Oregon. He had one winning season here for USF. That was it. And then he went to Oregon. And then he came back, had a losing season at Oregon, came back to Florida State. So I'm not a Noles fan, being that I'm a Gator. That's our in-state rival. Kind of like what you guys with Michigan State. But, yeah, But I would rather sit home and watch college football than go to a Rays game, and that sucks because you should be all the fans of baseball, even if you're a college football fan, you should be at the stadium representing that franchise. They don't play in front of fans, that many fans, as they've stated all season long. I think they average 10,000 per game, which is like second or third lowest in all of baseball. So it really honestly sucks.
And 8,000 of them are the homeless they bust in.
Yeah, true. Well, and then here's an argument that I made the other day. I was at the USF game last Saturday, and they said, oh, there was 31,000 people there. I go, where? There was not 31,000 people in the stands. There may have been 31,000 tickets sold, but there wasn't 31,000 people in the stands. There's no way. And Charlie Strong has stated time and time again, I want people in the stands to support this team. Well, if you don't, as a recruit, why would you want to come to USF? Well, first of all, it's hard because you've no national championships. But the second thing is you're going to come down here. You're playing in a pro stadium at Raymond James, but there's no one to come see you. Why would you want to come here? I wouldn't. I'd rather go to Orlando and play for the Knights. If that was the case. That's just how I see it.
Right. So, okay. If I'm a kid from Gaylord, Michigan, a little small town, middle of nowhere, and I've got an offer to play football at Syracuse and Memphis and Orlando and USF, Tampa Bay. Sell me on Tampa Bay. Why should I come play there?
Yeah.
I can go play. I can go play in Syracuse. That's a storied program. A lot of cute college girls. I go play Memphis. Memphis is a big city. Has a big city lights. They got casinos. They got stuff to do. Why should I come to Tampa Bay? Sell me Tampa Bay. And that's, and it's something I talked about 6 years ago when Harbaugh first got to Michigan. Is it didn't matter that Alabama and Texas and Florida were going to recruit in the South. That was fine. I wasn't worried about it. And everybody was all juiced and, Jim Harbaugh, he's going to go down there and he's going to steal recruits. And it's like, I don't care. Stop stealing recruits. You're not going to get the best players. You're going to go down there and you're going to get table scraps.
Yeah.
So go out west, stay home, recruit in the Big Ten, recruit in Montana, Idaho,
right.
the Dakotas, those places that kids don't, where, if Jim Harbaugh shows up at some 4-star recruit's house in Idaho, and he's looking at Idaho, and he's looking at USC, and he's looking at, and he's got Michigan on his draft board, Jim Harbaugh shows up at his ranch in the middle of nowhere, that's going to be a huge get. It's going to be a huge, come to Ann Arbor, play at Michigan, play for the winningest program in all of college sports.
Correct.
And don't worry about recruiting in the SEC because no one, if you grow up in Alabama, you grow up playing either one, you play for one of two teams, Alabama or Auburn. You grow up in Florida, one of four teams. Georgia, one of two teams. Tennessee, you're going to play for Tennessee. And if you have any talent,
correct,
you're going to go play for those teams. So Michigan, it's not worth even bothering recruiting down here.
Yeah. Yeah. I know they made a big stink about that with the satellite recruiting or whatever he was doing down here. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
you know what? He has the right to do it. It's not against NCAA rules, so stop worrying about it. Because if
the
anybody
SEC hates it when we get the drop on you.
Correct. I mean, if anybody can, then what you basically have to do to a recruit is, okay, tell me why I should come to Florida or Florida State or Miami or Michigan. Sell it to me. Tell me why I should come here.
Yep.
And I mean, I know the one thing that they're going to say is, oh, well, the weather. It's always warm here. You don't have to play in the cold. Da-da-da-da. Okay, well, that's not enough. You're going to have to tell me more because those three schools in particular have all won national championships and multiple national titles, but not as much as Michigan, not as much as Ohio State, not as much as, their school. I agree with you. I think, honestly, that, they need to stop making – I mean, he does need to stay within the confines of the Big Ten. I mean, if you can go to Idaho or Montana or Wyoming and find a 4-star recruit and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to sell you this right here. We're the most winningest program in all college football. Why would you want to go to Wyoming? Why would you want to go to Idaho? Yeah, I know you love Boise State, but why would you want to go there when you win a national championship? So that's the way he can make a sales pitch to a recruit. And that's where, coaches like Charlie Strong in this state in particular are hard because all the guys from Florida, Miami, and Florida State have to go, oh, well, we won national championships. Charlie's never won one, not even come close. USF hasn't even come close. UCF, well, they could say that they are the national champions if you want to say that. But it's hard. It's hard to get recruits to come to USF and UCF over the three big ones. So I agree with you. I think if you stay within your confines of where you're at, where you're located, and get those athletes, then so be it.
Yeah, I think, and that's one of the big things, big selling things for me is like, going, there's hundreds of thousands of kids that are playing high school football every year.
Right.
And if you try to beat the big dogs with their own game, they've been doing this for 50 plus years. They know how to recruit. They know how to entice. They win tight. You can't come down here as in Michigan or in Ohio State and say, and try to live on legacy because it doesn't fly down here. And they've won just as many titles. They got, and in USF is not going over to Alabama and going, hey, you're Mr. 5-star recruit. You want to come play for us?
Yeah, no.
You're going to have to do your own homework.
Correct.
Sorry, we can't afford a tutor, and he's going to go, I can go to Alabama with all the pretty Alabama girls and have them some grad student do my homework for me. I'm going to go to Alabama.
And get to play for Nick Saban? Yeah, I think I would go to Alabama too. I think I would go to Alabama. Yeah.
If I was a one-star recruit, a no-star recruit, if I was a walk-on, and it's like, and I could walk on in Alabama, or I could play for Charlie Strong.
I go
I'm
to
gonna
Alabama.
walk on in Alabama.
Correct.
I'm gonna walk on in Alabama. I might only go there for 2. I might only go there for 2 years. I might come down here and I might play 3 and 4 for Charlie Strong. But I'm gonna take my shot with Alabama.
Correct.
Because why not? Might as well.
Correct.
And I kind of feel bad for Charlie Strong because he did get shafted at Texas. That it was a terrible fit from the start. They were a bad team. They didn't have any talent. They had everybody had graduated the year before, and
Correct.
now he's stuck. And no offense, I don't mean any offense to UCF or USF. You guys you can find yourself, Charlie Strong is a great head coach. He's a great coach. I don't know if he's a great head coach. He's a great coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Charlie Strong is an excellent coordinator. And unfortunately for a lot of guys, some guys are just great coordinators and that's all they'll ever be. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Correct.
But they get this idea, and these guys, you want to progress your career and you want to, make the big time and they get an opportunity, and next thing they know, they're in over their head, and you're 1 and 2 at USF, and you've been blown out twice, and and like Lane Kiffin, Lane Kiffin was Lane Kiffin. What can I say about him?
There's not really too many positive things you can say about him. It's not really a lot of
excellent hair.
That's it. That's okay. You can say that about him. That's about it. There's not really a lot of positive things you can say about him.
I can say he ruined the Tampa Bay defense.
Yeah. Yep.
He ruined the Buccaneers. He ruined the Buccaneers defense. He did that.
Right. Yeah.
Not exactly positive, but I can't say he did that.
Correct.
And sports is such a fickle mistress. That's one thing. And I was thinking about that this afternoon. I think, what's the difference between reality, regular TV or scripted television, whether it be, scripted reality shows like Big Brother or just plain drama like, ER. And what makes sports so appealing to me as a sports fan is the fact that every week, every day, it's different. It's never the same. You could have 2 games that in the exact same score. Every play could, literally everything that happened could happen again. Because, of course, by the law of nature, everything will happen exactly the way it happened already, again, because that's just how things happen. And those games will be 2 totally different games, and you will remember them completely differently. And I will talk to you about a game, and you'll remember it one way, and I'll remember it a different way. And that's what makes sports so much fun, is because there's no wrong way to watch a sporting event.
Correct.
And it's fun. And it's funny because, you're trying to reel the Michigan fans back in after, 2 weeks ago after the Army game. You'd have thought we'd lost. You thought we got blown out by 40. And try to all right, guys, calm down, easy. I know it wasn't as clean as they might have liked. But, we still won. We're 2-0. We got a big test against Wisconsin. But it ain't the end of the world.
Nope.
I know we dropped in the polls, but that's okay. We got plenty of time to recover. We beat Wisconsin. We take care of business against the rest of our opponents. We'll be all right. And then trying to be positive and trying to say it's yes, I understand that there were mistakes made, but Army is allowed to take the field and try and make plays.
Correct.
And